Hey YouTube, it's Crypto One Step coming at you guys with another edition of the weekly crypto update. Now, you guys know that I'm pretty apolitical on this channel, but I'm going to play you this clip from Donald Trump's audiobook. And in my view, it gives you a pretty good insight on Trump's general view of technology. And the reason I think this is important is because the legislators, everybody that makes up government, the people who ultimately are part of the decision-making process when it comes to passing laws, they're basically going to mold and shape the regulations. And in the long term, that's what you need. You need to have clear-cut rules for companies. Otherwise, you really make it difficult for them to operate. And we'll go ahead and expand on this as we dive deeper into the video, but for now I'm going to play you this clip from the audiobook titled Think Like a Billionaire.
Number 4, don't depend on technology. A lot of it is unnecessary and expensive. I don't have a computer on my desk. I don't even use an intercom. When I want someone in my office, I yell. It works a lot better than an intercom, and it's much faster. I don't even have an ATM card. I've never used one in my life. That's the funny thing about being rich. When I go to restaurants, I rarely have to pay. It's usually on the house. The sad part is that if I needed the money, they would make me pay. I can understand why some people would appreciate the convenience of ATM cards, but a lot of other tech devices are completely unnecessary and get in the way of human contact. If you have something important to say, look the person in the eye and say it. And if you can't get there, pick up the phone and make sure they hear the sincerity in your voice. Email is for wimps.
Given what Trump said in his book, it's not a surprise why he tweeted this out back in July 2019. Trump, for the most part, is pretty consistent with his beliefs. I mean, the guy is saying the same things he's saying now that he said in the 80s. So I think with Trump, it's just a matter of education. If we get the right people to tell him the benefits of a decentralized, non-sovereign reserve asset, I think there's some potential in winning him over. Now, the other thing you have to understand is that during the time that this was tweeted, we didn't have phase 1 of the trade deal with China completed. And when you're doing these types of negotiations, these high-level negotiations with another sovereign state, having your domestic currency being also the global reserve currency is a huge point of leverage. And obviously Trump knows this too. And I think this is why he said the following. We have one real currency in the USA and it is stronger than ever. Both dependable and reliable, it is by far the most dominant currency anywhere in the world, and it will always stay that way. It is called the United States dollar. Now, since we got phase 1 of the trade deal completed, I think it's very possible that if we get the right people talking to Trump, and perhaps they use the business vernacular that he likes, and to show him the potential that this technology has in creating jobs here in the United States, that might provide him compelling reasons to aid in the adoption of Bitcoin. And you might be wondering, well, where's this help going to come from? Over the years, a lot of people in Congress have come out in support of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. A lot of these people have access to the president. For example, we have people like House GOP leader McCarthy, who says he likes Bitcoin. He doesn't like Libra, but he likes Bitcoin. And I don't blame him for not liking Libra because it's basically a printing press for Facebook, and Facebook has been under scrutiny because of privacy issues. They've been selling our data to third parties without our consent. So obviously the public doesn't like this, and this sentiment of distrust has spread its way into the chambers of Congress. However, McCarthy, again, he does emphasize that he likes Bitcoin, he likes where it's going, he likes the potential of Bitcoin, and this is great news. Especially if you look at the polls. The polls are indicating that Trump is doing really well, that he's likely to get reelected. And typically what happens is that when a party takes the executive branch, they also tend to win majorities in the Senate and Congress. So it's very likely that this election season, Republicans will gain majority in Congress, in the House, and McCarthy will become the House Majority Leader. I mean, he already has access to the president as it is, but when you become the House Majority Leader, you gain more power and influence. And so when cryptocurrency or digital asset related legislation is proposed, it's good to have somebody like McCarthy at the very top because he has a very positive view of the technology. In addition to McCarthy, you also have another Republican congressman who believes in the enormous value and utility over the long run of Bitcoin. And some people in government feel that, Bitcoin is sort of a threat or is adversarial to the US dollar and that they can't coexist. McHenry feels differently. I think when you're talking about a truly decentralized long-term store of value and a belief in a system, not a belief in a government or a governmental entities, I think true cryptocurrency has enormous value separate and aside from digitized fiat currency. Not only do these guys have a positive outlook on Bitcoin and digital currencies, but they also own some as well. You have Congressman Bob Goodlight, who filed his annual financial disclosure statement on May 10th, disclosing that he owns between 17 and 80,000 in digital currencies. And in my view, this is a good thing, because if they have skin in the game, they'll be more likely to pass legislation that's crypto or digital asset friendly. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but all the congressmen that I talked about, they all come from the Republican Party. And like I was saying earlier, Trump is poised to get reelected. And if that's the case, it's also very likely that the Republican Party will take the House. So let's set up that hypothetical scenario. Trump takes the executive branch, he becomes reelected. They add to their Senate majority, and they also take the House. So you have people in government who are optimistic and have a positive view of the space, and their party is going to be dominating two branches of government, the main two branches that are involved in the legislative process. If my prediction becomes true, then it's very likely that they're going to pass this positive legislation that's going to make it easier and clearly define the rules for businesses. And as that happens, it's going to open a floodgate of money. It's going to cause more people to get into the space because it's going to legitimize this new asset class. With all that money and talent coming into this space, that's incredibly bullish in my opinion. Here's a report from Grayscale. Grayscale raised $607 million in 2019, surpassing cumulative investments from 2013 through 2018 combined. Cumulative investment across the Grayscale family of products since inception reached $1.17 billion. Out of that $607 million, Grayscale expanded its investor base by approximately 24% in 2019 alone, bringing in new clients that collectively accounted for $146 million of the investment. The rest came from existing investors. During the 2017 run, a lot of it was caused by retail investors. And as a retail investor, I used to think that these high net worth individuals are more disciplined and they won't FOMO in. I mean, I do think that they are a little bit more disciplined in their finances. That's part of the reason why they're rich. But to be honest with you, they're human just like us. They saw the gains the market was making and they wanted to get in. If they weren't subject to FOMO, then you would have seen most of this money come in during the end of 2018 when the market bottomed. But the fact that this money came in Q3 and Q4 shows you that these guys probably got a taste of the gains and they wanted more. I remember in 2017, I sort of kicked myself because I felt like I didn't invest enough after the market went parabolic. And at that time, I did FOMO in a little bit. And if you were one of those individuals, I wouldn't beat yourself up. I mean, it's a completely human emotion. When we see the price going down, we just wait for it to go down lower because we want to get the best price possible. And when it's going up, we want to invest as fast as possible because we don't want to miss out on all the gains. Fear, greed, that's part of our biological coding, and it's perfectly natural to feel that way. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these individuals, these high net worth individuals, they're human just like us. And this may seem like it's a lot of money, but I think they're just dipping their toes in. I think in the next few years, we're going to get a real sense of what institutional FOMO looks like. More than half of financial advisors want better regulations before investing in crypto. And I'm going to read you guys these last few sentences here because I think they do a pretty good job of encapsulating what this entire article is about. There was a survey done, and this survey found that advisors increasingly think Bitcoin is on the rise. 64% project it will add value by 2025, while 8% think the market will crash by the year's end. 64 versus 8, I mean, that's a massive majority. So they also asked, what about your clients? How do your clients feel about crypto? Do you think they're investing outside of the account that they hold with you? 35% of advisors believe that some of their clients are investing in crypto themselves. A far larger slice of advisors, 76% of them, said they fielded clients' crypto questions in the past year. And the article ends by saying, last year, people were not sure if crypto would survive. Now people are more confident. Here's how I think this is going to play out. Again, this is one of those things that's purely my speculation. It's my opinion. I remember in 2017, early 2017, a lot of people I talked to about crypto within my own sphere of influence didn't even care. It went over their head. And I told them, I disclosed to them that I'm investing and I think that they should get some exposure too. I'll be honest, not a lot of them did. Only a handful did. And they only invested a very small amount. Then the market went parabolic. And after I disclosed my gains to them, they jumped in quick. Now, mind you, they didn't put a lot of money in, but they jumped in pretty quick and got some exposure. And as the market rode up and they saw the type of gains that I was making, they added even more money. This is sort of analogous to what's going to happen with a lot of these high net worth individuals. As humans, we're very competitive. If our peers are making a lot of money, we don't want them to get too far ahead of us. And when these high net worth individuals start bragging to their friends about how much money they've made in the market, that's going to compel their friends to finally jump in. And if you're one of my subs, I strongly recommend that you guys turn on that notification bell, because I'm going to be following this trend and I'm going to be reporting to you when these numbers really start to change. And we see a shift of people just talking about buying and actually buying crypto assets. So if you want to be one of the first ones to know, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click that notification bell. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of the technology adoption curve. And currently, based on my assessment, we're probably somewhere between 1% to 3%. I think we got enough infrastructure in place to accommodate a lot of the early adopters. And let's say we go from 3% to, let's say, 12%. That means we'll have 4 times as many people in the space. So when these people come in, they're not only going to bring their money, they're going to bring their influence, and they're going to bring their talents. That means more money being invested into the space, more people building, more people starting businesses, and all that will help propel us into the early majority phase. Now, in terms of where this could take the price, I want to focus here on the stock to flow for Bitcoin. And I'm really glad that somebody created this, because a lot of people, very smart people, are trying to figure out how to put a price on Bitcoin, and nobody really knows how to evaluate assets in the digital asset space. So in that context, I think this graph or this chart does a really good job of proposing one way to value the price of Bitcoin. And if enough people believe in this, there's a chance that it could become the general consensus. And if that's the case, that's very bullish for Bitcoin, because based on his chart here, the price of Bitcoin could be going to 100,000 very quickly, very soon. So if enough people believe in this stock to flow narrative, they might buy Bitcoin just to make a quick flip, or they might keep it for an extended period of time, because look, in 2029, that's less than 10 years, you'll have Bitcoin near $10 million. Now let's assume that this plays out. You're looking at Bitcoin close to $1 million within the next 5 years. Now, obviously this is pure speculation, but the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of people try to make price forecast, and they tend to make price forecasts based on the general sentiment of the market. If the market's doing good, they'll be bullish about the forecast. If the market's not doing so good, they'll be bearish about the forecast in the next couple of years. So whether it's my price prediction or other people's price prediction, I would just take the price forecast with a grain of salt. Based on what I've presented to you guys today, the regulation portion, the interest in institutional investors, us heading into the next adoption phase, and this stock to flow model. And by the way, I want to premise this by saying this is not financial advice, but I strongly believe that Bitcoin could easily go above 100,000 in the next 2 to 3 years. I think the real FOMO is going to start when Bitcoin hits 20K. Once it exceeds its new all-time highs, and a lot of the high rollers get in and they get market exposure, that's when you're going to see it all over mainstream media. They're all going to be promoting it and pumping it. But again, I think all that could easily take us over 100,000 and then some. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end my presentation here. If you enjoyed any of that or you found any value, make sure you go ahead and like the video. And if you want to see future videos, make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell. And I encourage all you guys to share your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. This is Crypto One Step signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.